CS gas, they used water cannon, and they also made a charge. So the people ran, they will only run as far as they need to when the British charge after them, and then they will stop and throw stones back. But on this day, the soldiers took up firing positions, uh, and that ball there was one of the firing positions, as you can see. They opened fire with live rounds on this street and the street below, where you saw the priest with the white handkerchief helping to carry the young boy. Within less than half an hour, 13 people lay dead. A further 13 lay seriously wounded, one of which died some weeks, months later, bringing the death toll to 14 altogether. It became known as the Bogside Massacre or Bloody Sunday. And you can see these men uh, are crouching for cover. You can actually see the fear on their faces, and I can pass that around for a closer look. One of them is wearing a white handkerchief across his face. That is an improvised gas mask to uh, to offset the use of CS gas, which attacks the eyes, nose, and throat, and causes stingy irritation and temporary blindness, and sometimes even nausea, vomiting. Now, the imprisonment continued, internment continued for a number of years, up until about 1975. And during that period, the British decided that they would uh, criminalise political prisoners, that they would make this whole conflict look like a criminal escapade. They would force the prisoners to wear prison uniform, to do prison work, and to conform to prison rules. And the prisoners were not, Republican prisoners were not prepared to do this. They would not wear the prison uniform. Instead, they wore a blanket, they wore towels or a sheet. They were naked apart from the blanket. It became known as the blanket protest. You can see a lady wearing a blanket. It was the no wash blanket protest because they couldn't leave their cells. When they left their cells to go to the toilet or get washed, they were beaten by prison warders. So it was a no wash blanket protest. And occasionally the prison warders would lift the prisoners and take them to a clean prison block because the prisoners couldn't use the toilet, so they had to. Yes, Eamon, all right. They had to use their cell as a toilet, and to try and dissipate the smell, they
Grabe,
spread
no?
the human waste on the walls, and the British called this the dirty protest. So there's a British terminology for everything, and there's an Irish terminology for the same thing. Uh, Political prisoners, criminals, blanket protest, dirty protest, and that's what this was known as. This continued for 4 years, and then the prisoners went on hunger strike. The British implied that they would grant concessions, so the prisoners called off the hunger strike, only to find that there were no concessions. So some months later, they went on hunger strike again, one by one, and one by one, the British government allowed them to die on hunger strike. A total of 10, including these two young men from this city, died on hunger strike.
Oh,
Many more people during street fighting, uh, people from all sides, mainly Catholics, sometimes children, the age of this child, were hit by plastic bullets fired by the Crown Forces and killed. Men, women, and children, police, British Army, IRA, all civilians, children, over 70 died that summer of 1981, as well as the 10 prisoners who died in hunger strike. So I will touch on that again before we finish.
oh, 1981. Grabe rin pinagdaanan din nila, no? Oo, kaya ayaw na patawag ng British. Kahit UK yung address dito.
Sabi kasi, sa atin kasi, hindi nila tayo masyadong ano kasi hindi naman na talaga natin ngayon alam na pinapakita ni JP kaya may ano na siya na ayaw talaga na magpatawag talaga na.
Kaya kaya rin pinatur tayo ni JP ito para malaman din natin yung anong
Kaya sunod, kaya sabihin nila kung gusto mo ano mo lang northern lang.
North. North lang sabi, North.
I was killed, and she seems to turn off. You know, she knows about. Well, she would know about, but there's a whole lot that she doesn't know, and even her mother, who lost her husband, no, she they went on a tour along me, and they were, you know, things I wouldn't have known. My mom was in jail, you know. So, the event that I spoke about, Bloody Sunday, happened here on the 30th of January 1972. Now, these people here are standing at this very location. You can see the corner of the flats just there. And this young lad, a lot of people wearing suits. That's how people dressed in the early 1970s. They wore their Sunday best, a suit and tie, or a jacket and dress trousers and a tie. But this 17-year-old Michael Kelly was standing at this spot, and seconds later, he received a bullet wound through the stomach. This is his face here. He's lying on his back now. A bullet passed through his stomach and lodged in his spine. And when the British Army were later asked to produce that rifle for ballistic tests, they said that they had lost it. And this young lad here, Michael McDade, was 17 years of age as well. He too is on his Sunday best. And seconds later, he received a bullet wound through the left cheek, which exited through his right shoulder, and he fell dead at this spot as well. Many died on the middle of the street, and some were killed just at the corner of the street and around the corner. Now, the man that you saw earlier with the white handkerchief across his face, uh, you may have seen that he had nothing on his hands. He died shot twice shortly after that.
Probably just because he had the handkerchief in his mouth, or just because he would take a pot shots if he ever.
They were just shooting anybody that moved, and he tried to get under cover, and he was shot down. And the this lad was killed here, just at the corner of the street where the white door is. This lad, again, you can see his hands. He's unarmed. He was shouting, I'm hit," and he ran on for a few steps, and then he fell dead.
Here was it?
Yes, that's Hugh Gilmore, and he fell dead at the corner. Now, a red telephone box, an emblem of Britishness that you might see in Trafalgar Square. British military vehicle here. The dead were being lifted. Those dead and dying were being lifted and thrown in like sacks of potatoes. It's thought that some people may have actually perished that would have survived had they not been treated in such a manner. This man here was standing in the relative safety of cover where the troops couldn't see him, and he heard the moans of the other man who, with the white handkerchief. He heard the moans of him, and he brought out a white handkerchief and moved forward to try and help him. And a British soldier, known as Soldier F, shot him through the back of the head.
Yeah.
Now these soldiers here are soldiers who fired fatal shots on Bloody Sunday. They're anonymised using the letters of the alphabet, soldiers A, B, C, D, etc. This is Soldier F. F from France, Lance Corporal F, and his name is David James Cleary. That's his real name. That's actually an Irish sounding name. I think he's actually Mountain Irish. He's the only soldier to be charged with killing anybody on Bloody Sunday. The man that you've just seen, he killed him.
And why is he the only one?
Uh, I'm not sure, to be honest. I'm actually surprised that they charged anybody. I
And
think
how can they
it's,
throw one on that bus and not throw the rest on that bus?
I think it's due to what he himself said and what Soldier G said. Soldier G has since died, but they're still going to use his statement in evidence. But he is going to trial. And
Right.
most
Aye, right.
soldiers recently have got a slap on the wrist, a suspended sentence. But he's the only one to be charged so far. He's charged with killing two people, William McKinney and James Ray. James Ray died just where that silver car is. Uh, James Ray was lying wounded, shouting, "I'm hit, I can't feel my legs." And a soldier walked over behind him and fired again through his back and finished him off. Now, this is Bernard McGuigan. Soldier F killed him, and he killed Annie Doherty, the man with a white handkerchief, but he's not charged with their murders. He's charged with 2 killings and a number of attempted killings. As a wee one, but
She'll be alright, she'll be
because we're going on this square.
If you took the one, I'll wait for it. Anyway, soon we over there need to get the umbrella. If not, so we get to keep on trying, keep on dry. I get the umbrella.
That
Okay.
there is one of the protests that I told you about, Dave. One of the protests that I told you about. People just called for
Sorry.
fairness in housing and jobs and voting, their rights in voting. And whenever a march like that was attacked, it escalated into a riot. So we're going up towards the corner of the square. There's a picture of painting on the wall.
When we're finished with the umbrella.
That building there is the Museum of Free Derry. And it's been built in recent years, but those squiggly lines represent a sound graph. It was a British Army transmission on Bloody Sunday that Mr. Porter, who kept the conversation, kept for over 40 years because he couldn't use it at the Widgery inquiry, which was the original one back in 1972, because it was told, bury the tape or they'll bury you. And even one British soldier who gave evidence against his former comrades had his life threatened. Now that picture there represents a picture by Francisco Goya, the Spanish artist, and he did a picture called the 3rd of May, 1808. But somebody has changed it onto like a Derry photograph, a Derry picture. That would be at this spot here, where a number of people have died. But if you look at the skyline, you can see a number of buildings up there. The Apprentice Boys of Derry Memorial Hall, the spire of St. Columba's Cathedral, similar to St. Eugene's Cathedral. And then over to the right, the far right, you can see a structure, a large pillar.
Yun yung
with a
nangyari
statue on
dati.
top.
Hindi to nangyari. Yun yung
If you
St.
look up
Columbus.
there, now you'll not see it.
Yun yung
There's a very
background.
good reason for that. It's not there. The year after Bloody Sunday, it was
Hindi, no?
Kaya nga.
demolished by the IRA.
Dito siya.
Oo, dyan yung nangyari. Dyan sa sakin na yan.
In 1973, the IRA planted a bomb and blew that statue up because the Apprentice Boys of Derry, a loyalist marching order, used to congregate there at one of their marches ceremonies, and they would throw pennies and halfpennies down at the people in Naylor's Row below it, the Bogsiders, and it wasn't charity because they would shout along it, "Go and get yourself a job, you Fenian bastard," knowing that the majority of people there were unemployed. Now, right in this corner here, there's a piece of the original wall. This place has been redeveloped, but a piece of the original wall was taken away and brought back.
Mm.
after the redevelopment.